In Times news update, a state of alert has been sounded across Iran. Iranian television is rebroadcasting the Iran-Iraq war anthem to notify citizens of the alert status. And at the same time, we have the Pentagon deploying additional cruisers, destroyers, and a fighter squadron to the Middle East amid tensions. And at the same time, we have Iranian state TV saying, in coming hours, the world will witness extraordinary scenes and very important developments. But the people of Turkey will not be witnessing those developments on Instagram, since Erdogan is blocking Instagram with 57 million users in Turkey cutting off sports broadcasts because an Israeli athlete defeated a Turkish athlete, threatening to invade a democratic country with which Turkey has no military conflict, and cutting trade relations, harming Turkish exporters to the tune of $6 billion a year. And apparently we also have Iraqi PMF soldiers starting to march to Syria. And at the same time, we have Hezbollah evacuating its headquarters in Beirut and transporting weapons from the area, according to reports on the Saudi Al Hadith channel. Well, good thing we have a strong leader in Joe Biden, who warned Benjamin Netanyahu that the U.S. will stop helping Israel if he continues to escalate the situation. We also have Air France KLM Group has announced that all further flights to and from Israel has been canceled until at least October 26. I wonder why they picked that date. Now we also have Israeli air forces bombing Hezbollah on the border between Syria and northern Lebanon, targeting possibly the massive weapons and military equipment that they are actively moving. Now you know it's getting serious when the French are getting involved. The French foreign minister calls on the country's citizens to leave Iran immediately. Now we also have the Israel Defense Forces Home Front Command that has announced that an emergency broadcast this weekend will be carried out through the normal mediums like the call, text app, and TV alerts, but also through specialized radio stations, which will only broadcast the messages and nothing else, allowing the Jewish population to keep their radio on even during the Sabbath. Now we also have a convoy of trucks carrying weapons and munitions from Syria to Lebanon for Iranian-backed forces was struck earlier in the valley of eastern Lebanon by several Israeli strikes. And you know this is getting serious because the Pentagon has approved development of additional forces to the Middle East today to defend Israel and U.S. military personnel. And with this all going on, we also have the stock market crash today, biggest crash since 2020. And because of this, we have an emergency press conference by Jerome Powell due to market meltdown. Oh, and if that wasn't bad enough, the CDC is currently conducting nasal swab testing at 8 U.S. international airports as a part of their traveler-based genomic surveillance TGS program. The airports participating in this program are all these down below. Oh, how lovely.
This behind me is absolutely nothing compared to everything that's happening in the Middle East right now. The Middle East is most likely where we're going to see U.S. troops versus Russian troops. Let me show you why, and I'll tell you how to prepare. By the way, everything in this video is my opinion. It's all my analyzation based on the news itself. Right now, the United States is sending 4,000 Marines to the Middle East, but we're also sending the Lincoln Carrier Strike Group to the Middle East, but not even 2 days ago after the Lebanon strike, I believe we sent 2,500 Navy members as well. So far, we've sent 7,000 additional members of our military to the Middle East. Now remember, I told you this is not just Israel versus Iran, right? It is Israel versus Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, Yemen, Iran, Syria. Even Turkey is going to be sending troops to fight against Israel. Let me show you now where Russia comes into the situation. We had just caught Russia in the process of mass transportation of a whole bunch of weapons to Iran. But it's much worse. Iran's deployed Russia's most powerful jamming communication system in Iran. And remember a few months ago when the US was warning about space weapons in Russia? Now we're having major worries of EMPs from Iran or Russia. It gives me leave the world behind vibes. And for the last 2 days, all countries are warning their citizens to leave Tel Aviv. I believe Iran's supreme leader said it's going to be non-existent. The UK embassy is now calling on British nationals to depart and send them to Lebanon. Wake up, this is all of NATO versus all of BRICS. What Hezbollah is doing right now is nothing but a mere joke compared to what's about to happen. And if you're like, what's taking so long? They had 24 hours grieving of their political leaders. And don't forget, there's a non-stop flow of Russian military transport planes landing in Iran. I bet you they have a ton of military on those planes as well. Y'all, come on. Here we go. Wake up. Now quickly, how do we prepare? Now first, it is not financial advice. So BRICS called on the Middle East to tell them to stop using the US dollar, and all of a sudden we see that our stock market is crashing for 2 days straight. Which means, put your money in a safe place, please read between the lines. Now of course we had the preemptive selective draft letters go out, right? So if you have a real disability, if you have a real part of you that's messed up of why you can't, hurry up and get your doctor's note. There's no such thing as coincidences. Wake up again. Now, with problems with the petrodollar and problems in the Middle East, it means everything's going to become more expensive. Because everything needs gas for transport. So stock up on food, water, anything you think you may need. Finally, the most important part. Make sure you're ready with Jesus, because there is nothing saying they can't come over here right now. They, any member of BRICS. And whatever you do, do not forget about the worrisomeness of the Russian Veterans Calendar for this year 2024 and their November page. Them at our capital. I've been showing you guys this all year. Anyways, get ready and share the message to other people you know to get them ready. It's always better to be safe than sorry, so get prepared. Because either way, we are close.
This is Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Ruach, which is all praises Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Those are the true Hebrew names of the Most High Father, and the one who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Now, in today's lesson, we're going to go ahead and get into all the crazy news going on over there in the so-called Middle East, right? Basically the Levant area. Now, or as the Bible calls it, the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay, because what we've been seeing is that there's been nothing but rising tensions over there. And as the scripture says, right, the second woe has passed, and the third world war is coming quickly. Now, we ultimately know that these devils ultimately orchestrated all this, okay? But there's definitely going to be real lives at stake, and this is actually going to be a real thing. And everybody now that's on the chessboard, or should I say Esau's chessboard, because remember, all these nations are in on it. Now, some nations are, less in on it than everybody else, but Iran has their digital ID system, right? They're ready for their new place in the New World Order, which is going to be, they believe, a more equitable place, along with, Amalek in charge, and, basically the Edomites giving up a fair portion. That's ultimately what these elitists believe, right? They're going to destroy the old world, right? In this Third World War, they're going to destroy religion, right? As Albert Pike, the Freemason, actually reveals in their plans for the 3 world wars. And then they're going to live under their one world order with their one world religion, which is going to be based off of, basically, actually won't be based off of, it will be Satanism, but it'll be a Satanism not like what you think, right? The whole blood and, heavy metal. No, it's going to just basically be what, the New World Order is today, and woke culture, okay? All that, biohuman and, chips and the mark of the beast, all that type of stuff, right? Right? Science, believe the science. That's Esau's, future. Well, either way, what we're looking at here is Iran's showing off the weaponry they got, right? And their general, in being interviewed, he says that their problem isn't that they don't have enough weapons, right? But it's that they don't have enough places to store them. And he was basically just boasting that they basically been building up. They said that they build missiles like cigarettes, meaning that they just have tons of them, right? Here it goes. It says, once IRGC commander said, we produce missiles like cigarettes. Biggest problem we have is with the space to store our missiles. So they're ready, right? And as you've seen in the video, right, that guy there, he's a Christian. Unfortunately, he still calls upon Jesus Christ, but Lord willing, the Lord will show him his real name. But like I said, like the Bible says in Matthew 13 and 10, that this truth isn't for everybody. But again, Lord willing, he finds the truth. But as that guy said, right, Russia has been flying in tons and tons of planes into Iran, right? And what do you think are on those big massive planes, right? This, right, tells you here. It says Iranian politician claims Iran may already possess 18 to 15 nukes. And this is all scripture, by the way, okay? This is all prophecy playing out. So we're literally watching the Bible come to life, right? And that you could actually find in Second Ezra. This is a vision that was given to Ezra by the angel Uriel, okay? And Ezra, being shown the entire, Bible, right? Because he was given back the word after the Babylonians destroyed it. Well, in this case right here, he's actually describing how the Iranians are going to come out, all right? And also the house of Ishmael, right? The so-called Arabs, okay? They're also going to join in on this, right? Even though you have some sellout Arabs, or Ishmaelites, I guess you call them, like the Egyptians, the king of Jordan, and I forgot, there's some other ones I think too, but the point being is that there's division currently within the Arab and Aram nations, right? Basically, who the world ignorantly calls the Arabs, okay? Well, let's read it real quick. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, right? Where Iran's at. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, and that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Okay, and what this is talking about is that ultimately the Arab nations, and along with Iran, they're going to eventually come and they're going to bring forward basically planes. This is why they say they're going to be as, carried as the wind upon the earth. Okay, that right there means they're going to be basically flying. Okay, and we see from the video they're using those drone airplanes. So that's what Ezra likely seen, that and along with the jets that they have. But again, because as we've seen in their promotional video, that's like a main part of their weaponry, is those massive drone launchers that are going to apparently launch thousands of these. There's that. And then if you want, it's a cool read, right? It basically tells you how there's going to basically be the Iranians and the Arabs are going to ultimately destroy the land of the Assyria, basically Iran and right there, but that they're going to ultimately retreat because of internal strife, and they're ultimately going to fight against each other. The kings of the Arabs, right? Basically, all the leadership of the Arabs are going to fight or infight, but ultimately, when you skip down to 43, let's just read this real quick, because this tells you how they're ultimately going to come and invade America, right? Or Babylon, as it's called in the Bible. Skipping down to verse 43. And they shall go steadfastly onto Babylon and make her afraid. And this is right here is talking about after the Arab house, the house of Ishmael and Elam, who are the Iranians and all these other mixed in people there. The people we know today as the BRICS are going to be joined onto them. It tells you they're going to go steadfastly onto Babylon. This is ultimately talking about them coming over here to America, right? And this is where you're going to hear about Texas or Florida being invaded, or California being invaded, like that type of stuff, right? Or the border, the Mexican border has been invaded by tanks, or the Canadian border or Alaska by Russia, right? But in this case here, it's talking about once the Ishmael's house gets sorted, they're going to ultimately turn their attention and focus onto America, Babylon the Great. And it says 44, they shall come to her and besiege her, the star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and the smoke go up unto the heaven, and they that be about her shall bewail her. This is here the star and the smoke that's going to go up. That's ultimately talking about the nuke. So when they come over here, they're not going to just invade cities, whatever. They're going to come and they're ultimately going to cause mass destructions with those nukes. They've already warned what they are going to do, and this is prophecy, as we could read here. And besides that, we just news that just took place, right? Lindsey Graham, the senator, brought forward this House resolution. It says, or the Senate resolution, it says, a joint resolution to authorize the use of the United States Armed Forces against the Islamic Republic of Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons. And what did that video show? That they are now possessing, nukes. And where did they get those nukes from? Well, from Russia, right? Gog, right? Or Magog in the Bible, right? It tells us in the Bible that Russia is going to be a guard onto these other nations. And with the BRICS organization, the security and economic pacts that they've made, that's what's happened. And now, this is where we're at. Right? And this is, again, ultimately prophecy. This is why right now people are getting those letters about selective service. And ultimately, a lot of you wicked ass Babylonians are going to go, right? Some are going to go under false pretenses, thinking that they're bringing freedom. Others are going to know that they're being used as pawns, and they're not going to want to go. But the point being is that if the Lord wants you over there, He's going to take you over there, okay? And you're not coming back, right? The Bible tells us that the people who go over to the Middle East to fight in that war, when everything goes down, they're going to basically become fertilizer, okay? Let's go and read this. This is Joel 2:20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into the barren and desolate, and his face towards the east sea, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. Now ultimately, the Lord is going to take the American army, right, basically Babylon's army, and take them over to Saudi Arabia, basically, okay, the Arabia Peninsula, right? And if you look at where those soldiers in that video are going to, that's where likely they're going to be landing there in Saudi Arabia or in Iraq or ancient Babylon, right? Now, this is all, again, prophecy, right? And you can all read about it in Luke, because this is a important prophecy that the Messiah, who again, whose true Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai, he prophesied about, right? And he was telling the disciples and also all the people around him about this, right? Because look, this is a red letter, right? And right here he's talking about how nation shall rise up against nation and kingdom against kingdom. But when you go down, he tells us a sign to look for, right? And it says, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh, right? And that's actually what we're seeing right now. We're seeing these armies, right? America sending 7,000 plus, and they already have other military servicemen in that area. Plus, we have all the draft people, all the people are going to be drafted, right? Men and women, right? You Eves have fallen for the serpent's lies, right? With feminism and wanting equality. Now you've been drafted onto the front lines. But either way, if you go over there, like I said, it's the Lord's will. But something tells me that we're going to see Isaiah 4:1, come to pass, right? These women aren't going to want to go to war, and if they become pregnant, they don't have to. But then it goes on and it tells us, let's go ahead and let's just skip down to verse 22. And it says, actually I'll just do 21. And let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, right? And let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So what's going to happen is, if you're an Israelite, and let's say you go over there, you go to Israel because you want to try to claim that land, you got to get the hell out of there, because the Lord's going to do something mighty in that land, okay? Because you have those people who went back with Ben-Ami, who came out of the commandment keepers and just basically taught, he basically was teaching Judaism, right, a man-made religion by our enemies, to the Israelites. That's why we have black-only Israelites or Old Testament-only Israelites. That's where that comes from, right? It's that distorted foundation that they built off of, okay? They didn't build off of the Bible. Now, sorry for digressing. Let's go and get back to this. It says, verse 22, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled, right? And that's the point. This is a heavy time, right? With all things going on, right? We just went through a double Sabbath, right? And now this breaks out after the Sabbath, right? It's not a coincidence, Akim, right? But we all know this. We all see the spiritual signs, and we know what's at the door. You have the mark of the beast starting to become more prevalent. It's very obvious that they're now starting to destroy the economy. What we're seeing with the Wall Street basically crashing for 2 days straight, we're going to start seeing some crazy inflation and ultimately some instability within the market. But again, if you've been paying attention to these elections, you can see how they got Trump playing the script, talking about he's going to make digital currency. And remember, that devil talked about finishing the biometric system that's going to be in the land, air, and sea, right? He's been set up as a perfect puppet to get the people to think that he's divinely set up, with his whole ear thing, so that way he could talk people into taking that beast mark, okay, that mark of the beast, which is going to be the RFID implantable chip, either in your hand or in your forehead, right? That Neuralink chip, right? That's all tied to like this system that it's going to be your new, beast system issued ID, right? Basically the world government ID. It says, verse 23, but woe unto them that are with child and them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and the wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into the nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, right? The dispensation that we're currently living in is the time of the rule of the Edomites, the so-called Caucasian race, and this goes all the way back to the time when they got into power, when they became basically the Macedonians, and then after that they became the Neo-Greeks and the Romans. Then they disappeared for 1,000 years, as prophecy tells us they would. It tells us that in Revelations, that he gets locked up for 1,000 years and then gets let out for a little bit. That was the Renaissance, and now we're here, right? We're at the end of their kingdom. They believe they're about to leap off of the edge and flap their wings and fly and set up the New World Order, but they don't realize that the Lord has them set up, and it's not wings that they have, but it's ultimately lead weights, and that's ultimately what's going to start to happen. But once this time of the Gentiles is fulfilled, right, the end of Esau's kingdom, then shall come heaven on earth, the immortal kingdom, which the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, reigns over, and co-jointly with us Israelites. Okay, we're going to be the priests and the mayors and governors are over the city, making sure every nation, every one of the other nations, obeys the laws of the Bible, right? There's going to be no idolatry. It's going to be basically heaven upon earth, right? There's going to be no lack of substance, right? Because remember, not only is the Lord coming back, but also all the miracles and all the technology that he has with him, right? We're no longer going to basically die off, right? Us Israelites, now the other nations, because they're just going to be human. They're still going to have the average lifespans, right? But their lives are going to be way better, and they're going to live longer. Because why? Because it's going to be heaven upon earth, right? And they're going to be good. All this wickedness is going to go away. But again, I digress. Let's get back to the scripture. It says, 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations. Look at what's going on over there in France a couple months ago with their election, and what's going on right now over in England, right, with all the riots between the immigrants and the locals, right? They're straight fighting each other with axes and machetes. That's definitely distress of nations, right? With perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's heart filling them for the fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, right? And it's funny, right, where it says men's heart shall be failing. And look, guess what's the number one sign of taking that snake bite, man? Look at that, man. Because remember, Luke, he got this vision. He was seeing basically men having heart attacks, right? But we all know that the time of myocarditis is more common now. So these people, as he says, right, that are looking after those things which are coming, that basically means that everybody who's really paying attention to what's going on now and isn't just blindly or blissfully, ignorantly going on about their life, this is stressful stuff. And now especially when you consider that these people in the world, they don't have the Lord. What they have is Jesus Christ, right? Basically the love demon with giving money to the church, right? That's what they got. They don't really have real comfort. They have false hope, right? Us Israelites, Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, we have the hope of knowing where we come from, that we come from the seed of Jacob, which goes all the way back to the seed of Adam, which was the son of God, making us the children of God, right? We are the Israelites, right? The Yasharallah, he prints power, right? As the apostles have taught us, right? And we've verified it, and that's the truth. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and go on to verse 7. But I was just thinking that was crazy, man, right? Men's hearts failing them, right? That's crazy. So Luke definitely seen a vision of somebody catching a myocarditis strike, and because he's seen people just looking into the crazy stuff that's going on now, right? I have tons of videos that I'm trying to put together, but there's so much stuff coming out now, it's crazy. I'm just doing a lot of just learning and, watching and basically, getting information and making sure I don't give you guys old stuff. But it's hard because there's so many things that are coming and going, and then brothers make amazing videos that you get hooked on, and and then also that gives you other ideas, and then it's a whole thing. But Salaki Akim, let me not digress. Let's get on to this. Verse 27, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. So what do we got to know from this, Akim? So besides all these crazy things that the Bible tells us to look out for, how there's going to be crazy distress amongst nations with perplexity, the Gentiles are going to go crazy, these other nations are going to go crazy over the land of Israel, right? But that ultimately, this is a sign that we're close, that we're soon to be out of here. And what that means is that, it's okay to look at the sky, right? It's okay to expect the Lord to come back. Because why? Because he's coming back. And these are signs of his imminent return. Let's get on to this, and then we'll finish this up. This is Isaiah 55 and 6. Seek ye Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. So, either way, Akim, as we can see, things are heating up over there in the land of the Levant, the Middle East, West Asia. Basically, and this shows us, man, that we're going to war, and we're about to go headlong into Esau's agenda, because not only is he thrusting the world into this third world war, but he's also bringing down the economy, right? So either way, Akim, best thing is stay paid attention to what's going on in the news. Keep watching these lessons from the apostles or the brothers, and let's give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Kokodash. Shalom.